All right, welcome to Tactical Tuesday again. This is part 2 of December 1st episode. I wanted to break them down a little bit, kind of give you different titles in case you will like one title over the other. Not a problem. This one here, we pretty much kind of go over a general strategy of Ad Hoc as Chef du Pont. Just, you know, when you're approaching a particular situation, you want to outmaneuver your troops or something like that, or their troops, then, you know, just using that particular game simply because it's up and coming. Everyone's played it so far, so the map's fresh in their mind, the fighting's fresh in their mind, the types of troops are fresh in their mind. We're just going to go over some basic strategies on who do you move first, when to smoke, when to dodge, when to attack, things like that. So we're going to try and incorporate lots of just general stuff in this episode. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. So let's get to the action and let's learn some ASL starter kit. Thanks a lot. Do the Germans need to be anywhere near the exit hex to defend that hex? And this is going to be coming up next week. We're going to have the review on that and have sure everyone. Does the German need to be anywhere near that hex other than blocking it with a body? You know, that's a potential. But do you need to be in any of those locations again, which you can't route from, because if you break in those locations adjacent to that hex, that's where the Americans are coming. You're in the way now, and you're going nowhere. So, it's a hint of what I'm going to cover next time. You don't need to be there to defend it. Think about it. Reflect on your games within the next week. Reflect on your games. Think about, okay, instead of being, and this isn't critical, instead of this, just thinking about how you're losing games or how you're winning games. If the Germans had a bunch of units, let's say in those stone buildings in the little village 5 or 6 hexes away from the board edge, right? Or maybe even 7 or 8, you know, if they can cover the American approach, that's fine. But they're in those stone buildings up at the top. If the Americans want to attack the Germans, they have to move where? They have to move away from their objective, right? Their objective is to go to the exit and get the hell out of Dodge. Let's pop that up real quick. Let's pop that up real quick so you guys have a visual. It's stupid not to use it. I apologize for not jumping on that. Does anyone, if anyone has that scenario, they could just load it first and we could sync to you if you guys could beat me.
No, I don't have it handy.
Okay, let's see. Games in progress. God damn it. Oh my god, where are my SK games? Oh my god. John, do you anybody happen to have that file? Just the what board is that, by the way? I'll just load the board. The W? I think it's W, right?
Oh,
which scenario are we talking about?
Ad Hoc and Chef du Pont. Is that board W?
Yeah, no, it's Y.
Y? Okay. I'll just load the board. We don't need units. We can load the. Yeah. Here we go. All right, sync to me. Just get the board up.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I thought they were further away. All right, cool. So let me know when you're synced to me, gentlemen, or who's not syncing. Or so what we have here is, let me clear this off. So again, it's based on what you plan to do. So if the Americans are coming on force, do you need to? And I actually haven't looked at any of the files. I've just seen you guys been playing. If you see me jump in your room, that's pretty much all I've seen. So if you are the Germans, and you sit down here, or let's say you sit over here. Now, I'm not saying these are terrible positions. All I'm saying is if you're having a bad day, let's say one of your flanks collapses, okay, you may need to adjust the game plan, okay? And typically there's a guy in R7, whatever. There might be a guy over here, right? Let's see there's a couple guys. Let's see there's a couple guys over here just for the hell of it. Okay. And you've got a ton of Americans coming on the left-hand side. This is just a simple example. I don't know if they're 747s or not. I'm just going to assume they're 747s. Okay. You got a bunch of guys over here. and they're making their way this way with a decent leader. Let's just say I don't know if the minus. So both of these guys break. Right. Tell me, how can the unit in N10 stop the wave from coming? Does his objective need to change when the force is in front of him that was essentially probably primarily used to slow up the, let's say these guys route like this, right? This guy routes back here. Are these guys going to rally?
Not anytime soon.
Right. Tell me which one of those units will probably rally first.
Northernmost unit.
Why is that, John?
Because none of the Americans are going to be shooting at him, because the objective they're going for is going to be in the middle of the border on the southern edge.
That's right. That's right. And that's what you have to keep in mind. Again, if it's the difference between this and this unit's safer to route because he's going to get up here. This unit is going to be eliminated eventually. Eventually. He's 2, 4, 6. And guess what? These guys advance. He's going to lose his DM in his turn. And then 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then this leader comes up. He goes, maybe he loses the leader. He's going to be taking a 16 sharp plus 2. Probably going to be a half squad. Again, then you move here. Either low, you're probably most players low crawl. Not a big deal. If you need units, you need units. There might be a leader over here they can get to, especially if he's a half squad. Again, this is a judgment call based on your game situation. Do you low crawl or do you not? Don't care. But the point is, this unit is pretty much out of the fight if he's the one that's in the front. Can he block units moving? At that point, if you want to block units moving, you just simply route back 1 hex. And so when he gets ahead of you and say he casual reduces, you simply route back 1 hex. You take the terrain that he wants to take. And that way, these guys can't occupy this position, but they can occupy that position, and he might be able to fire 4+1. Or if there's a squad here, he could fire 4+1. 4+3 is not going to do anything. This is not an attack. That's nothing. That's not going to happen. So stop that from happening. Even if it's for a turn, that's all you have to do. Let me let my stupid dog out for a second. She's just a whiner. Give me 1 second. So your objective is Q10. Let's just put something in here. I just want something. Ah, got it. Yeah, victory sec. Oh my god. There, I don't need to listen to the phone. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the V. Yeah, I get the V too. Again, I'm just kind of distracted. So the Americans are going to get here. And in the next turn, let's just say the Americans kind of move up and this unit moves back here. And so he's got a wall of a force. But then these units will have the American player turn to rally. Let's say he gets 1. And then the German player turn to rally and he gets the other one. That's at 8. Then these guys can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's say if they're out of line of sight, 5. And then do we want to move here by CXing? If they're out of LOS? If that's the objective we want to go to, we don't want to move there. Because we're going to be destroyed. This is what I was talking about before. We don't want to move there. We want to be destroyed. But if we advance there, what does this guy have to decide? You make your opponent make a decision. What does he have to decide what to do here? Do we fire? Or do we move and take a 6 even or 6-1 shot? Or 4, and then the other guy could fire over here. Now the German has the advantage. This is an open ground. This is open ground. If the American decides not to fire, and he assault moves here, not even, we're not, look at this. This is a 2-1 on that unit, or a 6-1, or a 4-1. This is a 4 even, 6 even. Now he is looking at morale checks. If he fires here, let's say they break again. Again, we have both units that are viable up here. Instead of routing one down here and having this guy eliminated, and only 1 guy there, we have 2 guys there. His strength returns later on. Even if these guys break, what happens to these guys? They can't move. We just stop them for 1 turn. 2 units just stop them for 1 turn. Now this unit can land maybe later on, get out of dodge or maybe fire on him in defensive fire, maybe get a free shot because this guy's in trouble. Maybe it saves this guy for a shot. That's what we need to look at. So, just getting back to the particular scenario, when his front goes, this guy, might look about repositioning. He might look and think of a position like this. Let's say all these guys move here, and let's say there's usually a guy right here. Let's say you happen to have 4 squads left in the game. Everyone else is dead, and you don't have any support weapons. You know, you've got 8 squads, 4 on this side, 4 on this side. Is the game lost? Let's say you only have 3 guys. You only got 3 guys, and one of them's a 247. Is the game over? Not at all. The Americans still up shit creek. Let's say there's another leader over here because he has to get a leader off. All right. They still have to go through this 1 hex. Can he smoke his way there? Yeah, he could try to. He could assault move here, drop a smoke here, right? He can get some smokes there. The next guy can, with the leader, 2, 3, drop a smoke here. He can do all that. It's pretty fancy. The next guy can try to go here, boom, boom. That's 1.5, 2.5, 3, 4.5, and then he could advance off. But he ends there. He can't go off unless he CXs. So this and this are risky propositions, but viable. Because they're Americans with 747, 3. Same thing on the left-hand side. They can eke their way up there. But, if they happen to be, unlucky into smoke, or if you maybe break a unit earlier, just 1 guy, that's 1 less smoke that he has to do. That means the other guys have to do all the work. And if 1 guy fails, you don't have to worry about it. But in the movement phase, you can start pounding this hex or the adjacent hexes with your 2 firepower. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can leave 1 residual there if you think that guy's going to move up and smoke. The first guy you fire, and let's say he fails smoke. Then the next guy moves up. What happens? That's a 1 firepower, essentially a 1 firepower LMG again, with infinite rate of fire. Let's say the other guy moves in there, or moves over here. Let's say 1 guy moves here that this guy fires on, and this guy fires. Let's say this guy fires on him through the wheat field. How much residual are we going to leave there? Is it 2, 3, 4, 1?
Probably be 2, 1.
Yeah, it could be 1. But guess what? For me as the American, I still don't like that. I still don't like the 1. 1 minus 1, 1 minus 2. That's a free attack. 1 minus 1. Guess what? When you move in there, what happens when we drop smoke, gentlemen? We covered right in the beginning. They drop smoke on Q10. What happens? Let's say they make it.
They'll take residual. Yeah,
they take the residual attack. And if they're moving and not assault moving, that's a 1 minus 2.
Yep.
So these guys may end up breaking even though they get smoke here. And if they break, they probably won't be able to rally because you've got enough units that you've kind of pulled together to be able to harass this unit even like at a 2+3. 2+3, if you have a leader, 2+3 is fine. If you have a leader, a 2+3 is just fine. Why is that? Why do we need a leader to fire on these broken guys here? Let's say it's 2+3.
You have to make sure you don't cower.
Prevent cowering, yeah.
Right, prevent cowering. We need a normal morale check on our dice roll. And our dice roll 2+3 is the minimum dice roll is a snake eyes. So we need to make sure we don't cower. So a 2+3 is fine with this leader. If we don't have that, he can't DM them. So that's what we're looking at there. If these guys are DM, they're going to make it, not unlikely they're going to rally, but it's going to make it more difficult for them to rally. So even though you're down to a few units and he has like 8 or 9 units, he's got to roll the smoke checks, and if you pound a couple guys up in here, first fire, boom, subsequent, first fire, maybe he moves into R10 by mistake, right? If you're the Americans, you're moving to R9 first. You're not moving to R10 dropping smoke first. Why? Why aren't you moving to R10 as the Americans here first and dropping smoke versus R9?
Because if a unit moves into R9, he's going to be closer, and a subsequent first fire could be fired against him rather than the unit in R10.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This little key in the Americans' turn, knowing that the Germans are going to fire and has to lay down lots of residual firepower, you want to move closer to him, even if it puts you in the range of some of these guys, because if this guy first fires, guess what? He can't, If this guy's closer over here, he can't take a long range shot over here. Make him burn up the firepower. Maybe this guy's to bait out shots. You don't care if he drops smoke because you got 3 guys over here that you know you're going to get some smoke off of. You know, maybe your plan is to get this guy off and not this guy. Maybe this is just a bait to get these guys first fired because maybe these guys are further away for some reason. I mean, they're further away, right? This hex is 3 away from that. That's 4 away. And, you know, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 there. That's least coverage. Move there. If you move here, the next guy moving up could be subsequent first fired up on by this guy here. He just goes, fires again. Or he fires on here if you want to move a guy here because you don't want to run the residual, right? That's 2 residual. You don't want to run the residual, so we go to the next hex. Oops. What do? We move closer to the enemy. Now he gets a free shot. Now he gets a 2-2 shot. Guess what? That's the same shot you're doing here. But if you go in the residual, that's like a double negative, right? You get the 2-2, then you get the subsequent first fire. So you're giving him 2 shots, whereas here you're giving this unit 1 shot because he can go here and drop the smoke. That's another way to improve your game. Order of movement. No one move a guy closer. Always think, if I move a guy closer, can I gain something about moving behind him? You know, he might have another unit. Yes, do we have another unit over here, Stu? Yeah. We got another 467 that can fire over there. We do. We could fire over there. We could break that unit and drop 2 residual. That's possible. And then what do? We take one of these units and we simply move up here. Right? What? Oop. And John, why do we want to do that? We're just taking this guy. We're just going right there. We're having fun. We got a couple of units back here. And this guy's first fired. Right? We're restricting his fire. He gets no more fire. Yeah. You get no more shots. You want a first fire over there? Break on my guys? That's fine. You get no more shots. Even if we give that guy, let's say, a subsequent first fire for whatever reason that it ends up that we make a bad mistake and we subsequent first fire guy. Well, now he's final fired, and now we just, well, hell, we could just dance in the streets at that point, you know, just move around. But now these guys, he's screwed, and now we're only looking at 247. And at that point, we just move around all this shit, and then we go into. At that point, you just simply move around it all, and then you're off the board. Simply by order of movement and know what you're doing. But, you know, in this sort of situation, does the German have a lot of firepower right there? Yeah. You know, he's created 2 walls of firepower, and let's say we're doing this, and he's the only one left. Guess what happens here? That's where he shows up. That's where he shows up and takes that 2-2 shot. You know, because he's got to spend 2 there. Will this guy get off? Yeah, but the Germans have the last movement. And it will leave 1 residual there. Well, so what does that do? These guys over here that may not have moved, you know, this guy that may not have moved, he's taking residual regardless of what hex he goes into. So now it may not be as pretty as this. You might be able to get a wall on this side and a semi-wall on this side. You might have something like this at your end game. And is this unit final protective firing when a unit moves adjacent to him?
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's no point not to. There's no point not to. You know? For you to get a result to break this unit, you need to roll less than a 7 anyway. If you don't roll less than a 7, nothing's going to happen in this guy. He's going to go off. So it really doesn't matter whether you're broken at that point. You're final protective firing here all day long. All day long. Usually the medium machine gun's still in play. So this guy gets like 2 shots. You know, there's 8-1 leader probably with him too. You know, that's standard. That's standard. You'll see that in like almost all your games. So, which makes it even more important. And you're sustaining fire, that machine gun. It's not doing anything at the end of the game if it's in good order and all the enemy units are off the board. If that machine gun isn't malfunctioned and you're kind of behind the 8 ball with the Germans, you need to fire it. You just need to fire it as much as possible. A 10 to break, who cares? Your chance of rolling a 10 is the same chance as you're rolling a 4. And if you roll a 4 with that thing of a 2-2, you know, Americans are going to start hurting. So, even if you're low on units, this game is far from over. Even with this many guys. I mean, I don't even know if the Americans have this many guys in the whole damn game, to be honest with you. I mean, I know they have some units, but if they make it with all these guys here, and there's not like a random broken guy in the back, then it's pretty much pressure on the Germans, and then you pretty much have to do the wall of residual, and hopefully your dice rolls will come through. I mean, obviously you don't want to rely on dice rolls, but for all intents and purposes, you just get free attacks. These are free attacks. And that's what you're looking at. Or making him move somewhere else. Maybe he can't move off. You know, if he's right here, that's 3, 4, and maybe he CX last turn, that he can't CX again, that he advances here, and then we just blast him right there. Remember, if you pin or break 3 units in this hex, and you have all these other guys right here, and everyone's final fired. This is the last turn of the game. Everyone's final fired. Let's say this guy broke. So he can't fire again. These guys are done. Oops. Clone. Put it right there, Stu. Stop screwing around. These guys are final fired. These guys have not yet moved. 3 units are here, broken in that location. Talk to me.
Nobody's getting off then.
Nobody's getting off. Germans win.
Yep.
You just block the hex. If you stack up bodies here, you block the hex. Can't get off. In SK. Can't get off the board. Stacking bodies here is good. I mean, you don't. The route phase doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether he could route or not. So I don't care if he routes over there or not. Advanced phase, okay. Germans win. Doesn't matter. If he goes there again, if you can happen to get even just a 2 residual firepower, right, gentlemen? 2 -1, 2 -2. Most likely he's going to have to move through that hex at 2 -2. Again, there's your 7. You know, 7's easy enough to roll most of the time. And if he pins, all he has to do is pin. And he stops. And then the next guy, if he pins or breaks, if you get, you know, not necessarily get lucky, but, you know, if you roll 7s and he rolls 7s, he's pinning. And they're all stopping. On average rolls, not shitty rolls, not good rolls, average rolls, you win the game in this situation with 2 residual firepower. Now, if you had an 8 medium machine gun and you put down 4, that greatly increases our chances of winning the game. Greatly increases our chances. If there's no other residual firepower on the map, and that was the only unit you had left, this guy, 1 medium, and the 7-0. We're not even, or a wounded 8-0, 8 -1. We don't. I'm not even giving you the -1. I'm not that fair. I'm an a-hole. You're not getting the -1 leader because, you know, whatever you. He rolled a 12 on a morale check earlier in the game. This is what you got. You know, let's see. He tried to roll 1 squad out. Let's see. You know, he got a half squad or 1 squad there, and you probably only have 1 shot. Let's say, yeah, you just have 1 shot. And he first fires. He has a unit next to you. You know, he's baiting you with a unit that you smartly don't take a shot at. You get 1 shot. Boom. 8 -2. Let's say you don't even kill the guy. Let's just say you break a guy. We don't want to. And at this point, do we want to kill people in this location? Do we want to roll snake eyes in this location?
No.
No. Why is that, John? Why don't we want to kill guys?
You want that blocking function. You want to stack them so deep that nobody else can make it through.
Right. If he dies and he's got units to follow up on that, yeah, the American says, "Cool, it's clear now. Move the next guy," because that's what he's gonna do. Move the next son of a bitch to there. But if he breaks, it's like, okay, oops, I only got 2 other rolls I can miss as the Americans. I'm gripping it. And when the next guy goes in there and he breaks, because 4 -2, pretty sweet. And 8 is a morale check. A 9 is a pin task check. When he rolls his 7, as long as it's not a pin task check, on your 8, when you roll your 8, there's your 7. That's going to be a 1 morale check. He's got to roll a 6. Is he going to screw that up? He screws that up. Breaks. Next shot. Well, that's vaporized, so we don't really want that. Next shot. It's a 9, that's a 7, that is a 4 minus a pin task check. Task check it. He pins. Simple as that, gentlemen. These are shitty rolls. Are these good rolls? These are shitty rolls. Look what I rolled. 7, 8, 9, and he rolls it at 7. I rolled 7, 8, and 9. Or 7 and 9. Average to shitty rolls. The 3, we don't want the 3. 7 to 9. And now there's the broken unit and a pin unit there. He's got 1 guy. 1 guy left to get off the board. And then we roll again. Oop, we don't want that. Well, now he's losing units. Like right now he's lost 2 units. Last one, a 5. That's probably the perfect one. That's a 3. That's a K2. So that's a half a squad, which means what? What difference does that make in this particular game when he half squads? And let's say he passes the morale check and gets off the board. That was his last unit to move.
Got to get a full squad off.
Right. Or, yes, exactly. Or another thing that happens is for the Germans' perspective. Let's say he gets 2 half squads off, but all these guys shred. He gets 2 half squads off. Right. And as he's moving 2 squads, he only gets 2 half squads off at the end of it. Oh, sorry, these are good order. My bad. I apologize. So he gets 2 half squads off instead of 2 squads. What can the German do in his movement phase next turn? I think the German moves last. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I don't recall. But I think the German has a reaction turn.
He does.
Yeah, the German can. Yeah, the German can can try to get units off as well.
Right. Now, guess what happens? Guess what happens in this situation? Because that can happen. Can the American afford to move everybody off the board and bullshit like that?
No.
Right. Why is that, John?
He's got to have 1 full squad and 1 single man counter off the board, and in excess of what the German has off.
Right.
So if the German is able to get 2 squads off, the American would have to get 3 squads off.
Right. So in this case, the Americans really can't throw everybody into the fire, because if we start breaking everybody, he's got 2 broken guys here. These guys got to route somewhere. They're probably low crawling here and then going over here. Most likely they're going to get out of Dodge. At this point, these guys don't matter where they end up, to be all on honesty. They just want to get out of this hex. It doesn't really matter what happens to these guys. Actually, yeah, they have to route. Why do they have to route?
Because they're in open ground.
Open ground and in normal range of enemy units. Right. So if that weren't the case, if these guys were out of range, let's say we were covering it back here and he doesn't have the medium. Let's see, this guy's over here and this guy is, whatever, is way over here. And these guys break right there. And the Germans can counter exhaust off the board. They don't have to route. Again, another way for you not to lose the guys. Hopefully it's not in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm stupid. All right, back up 1 more hex. But he can counter exhaust. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then advance off the board. Or 7 or 8. So he could actually be way the hell back here and still get off the board. If I'm not in normal range as the Germans, which you really need to keep guys in normal range because guys will be breaking here. If you're not in normal range, he stays there and blocks you from getting off the board with his broken units. And he wins the game. But if you put the pressure on him and you've got him in that situation where he's minimized his escape, these guys are off. He's got like 1 guy over here covering. And let's say he's got, these squads go over here broken. And even if you have these guys here, obviously it's a shitload of firepower. At that point, you might consider firing this unit on this guy, and 8 even, hopefully he'll break. And then just giving him essentially 1 or 2 squads to fire on this hex. And these guys just have to try their best. Well, this guy actually probably won't make a difference. Well, this guy might make a difference. Then essentially the scenario flips. The scenario flips on the last turn of the game, where now the Americans have to defend the hex. The Americans have to play the game in such a manner, either very aggressive to destroy the Germans, or they have to defend that hex. If they're not super aggressive, they just want to circumvent the Germans, they still have to defend it. Is it pretty good defense? Yeah, 6-2 is pretty good. There's nothing special. There's nothing fancy about that. 6-2 is there. But even with this ragtag force that the Germans have coming on here, he still has a decent chance. 100% chance? No. Let's say maybe 35% chance of winning. That's not bad. Not bad. When you have nothing left. When you literally have nothing left up in here, I'd probably give it a 35% chance of winning. With all the broken units and, ripping guys up and things like that. You're going to have to run the gauntlet just like he ran the gauntlet. And, something to think about. And he's got to shoot at people. And again, in this case, who are you going to move first? Let's say Let's say this guy's just gone. This is whatever. And your only functional unit is here and or here. Let's say you got both these units. Who are you going to move first in this sort of situation? Again, we're talking about how to making sure how we're going to win these games at the end. Does it matter who we move? Let me ask you that. Let's say we're not going to fire anybody and we're just going to move. We're just going to balls to the wall move. Who are we moving first, gentlemen? And where? Your guesses. Doesn't really matter. You don't have to be right. You don't have to be wrong.
Going to move the 747 and Q10 towards P9.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, John. Germans. The Americans are off.
Oh.
They got their squad
My
leader.
bad.
They got their squad
My bad.
leader off. The Germans have to react to that. Who are we
Okay.
moving and who are we moving first and why? Or does it matter? Do we care? Do we care?
Well, it absolutely matters because we've talked earlier about how the, preventing subsequent first fire, getting longer range shots, into the victory hex.
Right.
So I'd
How many shots do we want to give the Americans at us? How many shots do we want to give him? We want to minimize that, right? And just like you were saying, we want to take away his other shots. So who are we going to move here? Considering the victory condition, we have to I don't know if a half squad will make a difference, but obviously the more units we get off, the better. So let's try and maximize that. So who would we want to move? Let's say we needed to get a full squad off. Who do we want to move and why? Who are you guys thinking? It should pop on you. It should pop. Tell me if it doesn't pop. If it doesn't pop, that's fine.
I'm thinking the 247 to P9.
247 to where else? Where else, John? Where else would be safer? Remember, moving him first is, in my opinion, is the right answer. P9, is there a safer spot to move him to accomplish the same task? Is there a safer spot?
I mean, you could get to 09.
09. Why is that? What are we taking here? Let's say he fires on us. Let's say this guy's 100% going to fire.
Yeah, you take a 12 minus 2.
12 minus 2 here, 12 minus 1 here. Slightly,
Okay.
not great, not better, or not necessarily the best shot, but that's the only thing we can offer him. We can't be 2 hexes away, and because he could still subsequent first fire. We have to get adjacent to him. We're going to be taking a 12 shot, no matter how you cut it. Now he's going to CX. You're going to CX this unit because you don't care about. It doesn't matter. Right, because you're firing in the advanced fire phase has no impact on the end of the game because you just have to advance off. Your firing doesn't matter. So this unit CXs, and he goes boom, boom, boom. Right, just to make sure that it might give him the opportunity to get that. He can get here at CX. If he doesn't CX, he can't get there, and if he can't get there, what does a 747 might choose to do, or not do?
Yeah, might.
He might not choose to fire at you. If you're not CXing, you're not even getting close to the exit hex. You're a null unit, and your advanced fire means nothing. The game ends in the movement phase or the advanced phase. So the advanced fire for this unit means nothing. So you want to bait the shot here, and once he's shot, he's done. This unit's out of the game. If he first fires, he's out of the game. Fires on him, 6. As long as he doesn't kill him. As long as he doesn't roll super low. But again, we can't rely on the super low. We can't say, okay, if you roll those, he rolls those. That's just part of it. 6 residual. We don't want that close to here. Let's go obviously be lower residual. Now what can we do for these guys over here? We could do the same thing in this direction. So how do we want to approach this situation? Over here it doesn't really matter too much. What we don't want to do is which actually this makes a difference. Which unit do we want to move? Let's say this guy is let me look at the map. Yeah, it's a porous map. I think it's an LOS. Let's say he's here. Let's say he's here. Which unit do we not want to move first in this situation? Again, order of movement of your units is very important here. Which unit do we not want to move first? Or can we not move? Remember, we're maximizing, we want to maximize our chance to win this scenario.
Don't move the one that's further away first.
Why is that?
Because he gets him a shot when he's further away, and then he still gets another shot, right? That
Right.
guarantees he's going to get 2 shots.
Right. And it may either be against the same unit or the other unit. Let's say he moves here, and this guy breaks from our first fire shot. This guy's the only guy left. We moved him to bait this shot. We did our job. He effed up, and now this guy's first fired. This guy is just shit out of luck. He's got to take the subsequent first fire, and especially if he's got a -1 leader. You know, he's got to take a 2 -3, dude. 2 -3 is bad. That's the same thing as an 8 chart. If not a little worse, because if he rolls a little bit, you know, a 4 will probably kill him. But that's bad. We need to move. We need to move this guy first. And again, we could just move here, and then we can move here. Open ground. What's the difference between moving here and here? Is there a difference, gentlemen? Is there a difference between moving here or here in this situation? Over here, it made a difference, right? We need to pin this guy down. We need to do the same thing to this unit, right? We want to do exactly the same thing. I'm saying that it doesn't make a difference in which hex you move into, per se. Why is that? Let's say this guy gets vaporized here. Just gone. He dies. He's first fired. We're in the same situation we had before when this unit moved first, right? But he's first fired. Talk to me about what you got left as the Germans. Talk to me what I want you guys to start using offensively with no firepower.
Yeah, use the 7-0 leader. Just park him in S9.
Yep. Or hell, this son of a bitch can just take the you know, over here, wherever you want to get to him. He's there. 7 morale, just like the 467 we just got killed. But if this guy dies here, it doesn't matter. You know, if we make the mistake of going here, I mean, at least he's got to fire at this guy here because he doesn't know if you're moving off or not. If you're moving into the grain and you're not CXing, are you moving off? No, he doesn't need to fire at you. He might save his 6 firepower on the only other unit that's coming down the gate. You have to move to bait the fire here because you are at a risk to leaving the hex. Could he save his firepower to here and leave residual? Yes, he could. And he'll still be first fired, and that will leave residual in that location. Yes, he could. And that would be a good move on his part. But if this guy gets off, you know, which is probably about the only move the American can make at this time if you pin him. But then this guy does exactly the same thing. His behavior does not change. He moves here to stop subsequent first fire on this guy coming down. This guy's taking a 2 -2 regardless. This guy has to move here to make sure he doesn't get another 2 -2 when he subsequently fires. Make sure that the order of your movement of units is important. It's very important on which guys you move first. This guy can be killed, but we draw his fire. Then this guy follows up, does his job for him by tying this guy down, even though we have 2 residual here if he waited for that location, right? And that's what I want to see you guys do. If you know he can move off, fire at him here. Don't be the happy point blank fire guy. That's what he wants. Because otherwise, he would have done this. You know, which he still can do. I mean, technically, he could still do this and fire here, but this guy could CX and go to the back door. And then you can still pin him down from this guy over here. You could do either way. Actually, that's probably a better move, to be honest with you. Instead of giving the point blank, which is a kill potential, you just simply go down here. As long as this unit can go 1, 2, let's go 3, 4, 5, 6, and then advance.
At P9, that guy's gonna sub.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm getting tired. Sorry, Sergeant. Absolutely, very sharp. Thank you so much. Yeah, at that point, yes, you can. Thank you so much to keep me on track. Absolutely, yeah. In that case, you have to give him that because you've got the 7-0 to back up that shot, right? Thank you so much. That's brilliant. Again, yeah, that's thank you. That's brilliant.
And good seeing you, man.
Yeah, and then this guy's obviously either here or there, but the 7-0, don't forget him. Don't forget he's the hero of this whole. He's the guy that saves the game for you when this guy gets eliminated. He's the hero of this game, not this bastard because he's running from the battle. He says he's a coward. This guy's the man. This guy wins the game. Well, this guy wins the game. This guy happens to be right place, right time. So use your leaders to pin units down. It doesn't matter in this case whether this guy breaks, die. Well, he don't want to die. If either one of these guys breaks, doesn't really matter. You want the first fires and adjacency on these guys, and then the middle is wide open. So those little things, it started with your giant force over here stopping it from coming, breaking, moving them back so you could rally them to use them a turn and a half later to either cut route paths or whatever. Consolidating your forces away from the middle. If you want to put him here, if he breaks, he can't rally this direction. He can't route this direction because most likely the Americans will be coming on this direction as well. So you can't route there. So he's stuck. He's like on the board edge, right? He's like the guy that's stuck on the board edge that's broken, that just dies. It's just that he's a little bit further away to die. So his 247 again, when we move him up here, and he's not broken, and the Americans still move up in that location, right? Right? Is he still doing his job about protecting the exit? Yeah. And when he gets hammered by his supporting units, then he gets used later to stop the Americans, just like you were using him initially, right? You wanted to use his 467 or whatever he was here to stop the Americans. Well, you're doing the same thing. You just took a break. You went to go to the bathroom, and now you're coming back to your post, And now you're doing the same thing by freezing this guy with first fire. So that's what we're looking at. And obviously there's a lot that goes into that. But don't think just simply because this is one of the situations where the victory location here, obviously you could try to block it, the Bush move of blocking it, but don't think that you just have to be, right on it. Obviously, if you've got buildings or whatever like that, if you could cover the same hex, if this is the case and he doesn't fire and destroy you, that's perfect. But a lot of times that won't be the case. A lot of times you may have to be at range and then, drop some residual on the secondary shots. Again, if you spread the residual out, it maximizes your effectiveness. If you could fire here, and even though the hindrance will reduce your residual, and if you could follow up another shot here, now this unit has placed 2 residual attacks, things. So essentially he's covered a little bit more area to make the American decide whether or not wants to go through it or not. Obviously he'll probably bypass it, but at least you cover more than one hex. Is it fail safe all the time? No, not at all. But it makes him make a decision. Sometimes like, hey, I've got 8 morale. I could run right through that 1 firepower. And guess what happens, Mark? What happens to your units when you run through 1 firepower residual, Mark? If you're still here. He's probably sleeping. But even with 8 morale, even me, I'll run through one firepower, but that's still a 1 - 2. No morale check can still break you. Remember, free infinite rate of fire with residual firepower. Infinite rate of fire, even 1. These are great. Even 1's good. Infinite rate of fire. These are never going to cower. They're always going to be there in the movement phase. He has to, and that's the first shot that goes off. So you don't even have to think about firing anybody else until he takes that shot. That's the beauty of it. So, but that's all I got, gentlemen. I don't want to. I kind of blew that off. Kind of blew the head off that one. Again, just analyze your games. Okay. Again, we're trying to talk about how we look at trying to salvage games that we're behind. And obviously, if you're rolling bad dice in this sort of situation, if it continues, like you saw, I rolled 7s and 9s, and that was enough for a -2 to get like a pin task check. If you're rolling 9s, then you need to catch them in the open, and then this is one way you could catch them in the open if you continue to roll 9s. And as you saw by the example, a 7 and 9, we broke a couple units to pin one guy. And that's all it really takes. So it may look odd by routing away instead of routing back to where we need to defend, route out of the area. Because just like I think John or Craig said, Americans are going to ignore you. If the American, and better still, if the American follows you up, you're doing your job. Now he's not going to go off. You essentially just eliminated that unit if he follows you up there, and he can't get off later if it's too late in the game. He was essentially limited. These broken units essentially eliminated this American by pulling him off of his objective. And if your opponent is one to be distracted by such a move, definitely use it against him. Definitely use it against him for sure. Again, if he's a guy that likes to chase down broken units, you pull him. You pull him from his objective, and that's the same thing as beating him. You know, a 1-for-1 exchange can work. You know, it's one less guy that's dropping smoke on the exit hex, right? One less guy. And sometimes that one guy, you know, is all it takes. I remember I played this scenario. I was trying to drop smoke all around them Germans, the exact same setup. Dropping smoke. All my guys were failing their smoke checks. So the only thing I could do is throw my units adjacent to them, and hopefully I won't be killed. And that's kind of what I did, and I barely got off. You just got to throw them next to them so he can't fire on you. So it's more than one thing to make amends for those mistakes that well, not mistakes. I don't even call them mistakes, just bad luck and rolls. Let's just call it bad luck and rolls. You can still kind of recover and make it hard on your opponent, even if you're rolling 9s. I mean, you're rolling 7. If the only thing you roll is 7, 8s, and 9s the whole game, as you see here, it's still an effective defense. Even 8s, you know, 4 minus 2 and an 8. That's a 6. That's a morale check. That's wonderful. If you're making your opponent roll dice, let him have that damn bad luck. Let him roll the 12. You know, you're tired of rolling 12. Let him roll some damn dice. You know, let him roll that 12, and then guess what happens with that? Especially if it's his 10 minus 2 in a squad. If he rolls a 12 and his 10 minus 2, he's going to go berserk. You know, he's going to say, oh shit, my 10 minus 2 is gone. Screw it, I lost or whatever. And he just starts throwing guys in those residual hexes, you know, if he goes berserk. So just give him a chance to roll dice and give him a chance to lose it when his units start breaking in 1 minus 2 shots. Mm-hmm. Just give him the chance. You know, don't give him the easy route deaths. Don't give him the easy route deaths. You know, the guys break, he just surrounds them, he kills them. Please try. I mean, sometimes that just happens. I mean, sometimes you're in a desperate situation. You got to protect this one hex. You can't move away from it. You got to be there. And if you break and you die, that's fine. That's fine. That was what that guy had to do. You didn't pass your morale check, and that's part of the game. That's fine. But if that wasn't necessary for him to be there, or if he can move or bait or whatever, like we showed here near the end game, if we can get away from the hex, he's not going to come at us and shoot point blank, right? He's not going to come to that location in the middle unless he happens to be there already. He's going to avoid us, and that preserves our force, because now all of his units are shooting at maximum range, if not a little bit beyond his normal range, because we have 6 range, he has 4 range. You know, all of his firepower on this guy in the middle is going to be halved, which is going to be jack shit. You know, it's going to be 2 squads firing at this unit over here. It's down here. It's going to be a 6+3, 6+4 if it fires through hindrance. That's nothing. Fire all you want. I'm immune to that firepower. I don't care. I laugh at you. But we're full firepower coming back. Use your range to your advantage. This guy doesn't need to be here unless he's like in a stone building or some shit like that. You know, he doesn't need to be here. This is far superior. You know, do we want the 8 minus 2 shot? Yeah. Hell yeah. I want it. I want it. You guys want it. We all want it. But a 4 minus 2 with guaranteed residual left over because he's safe and he's not going to get fired at is far more realistic. Far more realistic. And, you know, just situations to look at. You know, again, this isn't anybody's particular game. This is just kind of the things that I look for in a game, and this is what I'll be looking for in the replays. I think there's 5 files that I downloaded. Very good. Thank you, those guys, so much for the people that submitted those games. Put them up on the site. Actually, you can't really pull them down if you go to the thing. I've got to go to your name, and then I pull them down from your name. I'll talk to Dave about that. I click on the VASL log file on the listing of the game, and it won't download it. But if I click on you, then I could download your VASL log from there. So I need to contact him about that technicality there. But I did get all the files, and I'll be reviewing those, and I'll look for a lot of the similarities. I really want to try to accentuate the differences between you guys, especially if like the Americans did something different, the Germans did something different, and they were both successful at what they were doing, you know. And if you guys submitted a game, if you can be here during that time period, it'll be next Tuesday, guaranteed. Next Tuesday, we're going to go over the game of the month, and then we're going to look at that. And there's going to be 5 games, so I'm going to have to try and like shut the hell up half the time and really get to it. And so that's what we're going to do. I want to trim similarities. I'll try not to criticize your moves, but what am I going to look at, gentlemen? What's the number one thing I'm going to look at? And if anything, I'm going to yell at you for.
Routing.
Okay? Routing is something that is 100% in your control in terms of before you even break. Okay? Every time you move, think, okay, I'm going to break. Where am I going to go? Every single time, please. If you do that, you'll win 30% of your games that you're losing. I guarantee it. 30% of your games. I'm not shitting. So routing is extremely important in the movement phase. You know, I see a lot of guys be playing a game, they'll move to open ground, say, oh shit, if that guy breaks, he just lost 2 squads. You know, it's for me, by working with you guys, it's that obvious to me now. It's so obvious to me now. It's like someone shining like a light in my face. The cop pulls me over. Excuse me, Mr. Stewart, are you drunk? Are you a drunk son of a bitch? You know, and he's got those lights beaming on me, probably a gun pulled on me, whatever. You know, it's that obvious that that's danger zone. That's a big danger zone. So you may not get a point blank shot on it, but you don't want to put your guys at risk, because everyone knows that bullshit one no modifiers or 1-1 is going to break you every single time. That shot will break you every single time. Everyone experiences that. Minimize those risks and maximize your gains, even though the game may be like here. The game may be a turn and a half later. We're not going to beat you now, but we're coming back and we're beating you later. You know, just realize, if I get these guys up, I got a really good chance of winning. I got a real good chance of annoying the American. And the more guys that he sees in hard, tough places, the more decisions that he has to make. The more decisions that he's making, it means what, gentlemen?
Less time he has to get off the board.
Less time he has to get, and the more opportunity he has to make a mistake.
Yeah.
If he's not making any decisions, if he kills all your units, is there any decisions to be made? None. Just, you know, how he moves off the board. That's it. But if you give him more decisions to make, you know, you give him the opportunity to make the wrong decision. And routing, again, the routing is the easiest thing that you guys can do in terms of defending against it, preventing it, and curtailing it. Like with your 7-0 leaders, your 6+1, you know, your ELR 7-0 leaders. Those guys are extremely powerful. Why? 6+1, nobody cares about those sons of bitches. Not even conscript half squads. You know, but those guys have 8 movement factors that can move behind the enemy and kill 3 stacks of squads in a broken time -2 leader. That guy is killing them, not your other squads. The 6+1 with his Luger with 2 rounds left in the chamber, or 1 round in the chamber, 1 round in the magazine. That's the guy that's killing 3 squads in a time -2. So, you know, just like we use the 7-0 here, that's how we're pulling that off. Don't dismiss your leaders. Don't dismiss your broken units. Offensive, highly offensive units that could be used in the game. It's odd to think about, but that's the truth. You know, a lot of situations. And all you have to do is it going to come up every game? Nah, not at all. But the one game it does come up in, you're damn well going to be, you know, how many times you get that one broken guy that rallied. And even if he's DM'd, you rallied that one broken guy, came back and put the hurt on your opponent, you know. It happens a lot. So that's the same thing. Take that to the next level. Take that in reference to routing. And that's pretty much what I'll probably focus on, is essentially, especially for the Germans in here and the Americans. I don't want to see the Americans routing 3 hexes back in this game. And if they do, I'm going to ask why. That's a full movement phase. You don't have time to route away. Your time is to move forward. You need to route forward in this game if you can. Or stay where you are. You know, make the Germans fire at him. Stay where you are. So, but we'll cover that next time. and I'll try to review it. I'll try to write down lots of notes. I'll try to be much better organized instead of just like talking for an hour and a half and just getting you guys. But hopefully, you guys aren't bored. I really hope you're bored. But I like to think that I'm trying to, if I repeat myself a lot, I just want to make sure it tries to sink in, showing examples and things like that to try and sink in. And that's why I'm really looking forward to next week, because these guys are your guys' games, and we haven't done someone's game for a while. We've covered a couple questions and things like that, but this is going to be your guys' games, and it will be much more exciting because we'll be able to really reflect upon all that stuff. Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right.
Look forward to it.
All right, I am looking forward to it the most, gentlemen. I love that you guys jumped onto it. I really love your enthusiasm. I mean, even my stupid little game of the month video I released last night at 2:00 in the morning, 100 people looked at it. It's like, hopefully we'll get some more guys on. Hopefully not like 100,000, because there's no way in hell I can review that many files. So I may have to conscript some of you guys to look at some of those files. And that's what I'll probably do. I gotta be honest with you, gentlemen. We're pushing forward. I want to push forward in 2021. We've been doing Tactical Tuesday for how long, gentlemen?
Oh, a few months now.
Couple months.
Couple of good months now. Yeah.
Right. I want to crank up the volume to number 2 now, or number 3, or wherever you think the volume's up at. I want to go the next step, and that's why I'm throwing you guys into SK2. For those people that don't have SK2 or don't play it or whatever, we have the rules for it. You have the rules. Read the rules. You have the counters. Let's move forward. Let's learn the next step something that we may be uncomfortable with, and that's fine, because that's why we are all here, is to help each other with that sort of endeavor. And when it comes to a point, if we get a lot of logs that I can't cover, I hadn't actually thought about this until like right now. I would really love it when, especially, this is why I want you guys to show here, because I don't know your game plan, and even if you write it out in a log, it's me. I am going to misinterpret. I'm going to screw something up. Okay, but if I hear it from the horse's mouth, then you don't have to listen to my nasty voice the whole time, and he puts me to sleep the whole damn game. It's a good 2-hour nap when I turn into Tactical Tuesday. But if I get to listen to Mark, John, Craig, whoever, Tony, everybody wants to hear from the other guy. You don't want to hear me talk all the time. I don't want to talk all the time. But I think it'll be really great in that, and then we could all be spectators to your game. And I want you guys, when Tony brings his game, or when Craig's talking about his game, as Mark was talking about his game, I want the people that are talking about their game, and we'll cover this in the beginning, to solicit, here's my route, here's my broken guys, where do you think I'm going to be routing with them, and then we'll cover it. Because at that point, if that person routed a different direction and someone brought up something else, he might say, oh, I hadn't thought about that when I started to route. So it'll be the player's own perspective of the decisions that he made during the game. I routed back to these woods instead of up to the buildings, and someone says, I'd probably go to the buildings because you could do this, that, and then the person that played the game, it'll really hit home on him, because that's the feedback that he's getting. And again, we're not going to use this for you screwed that up or whatever like that. We're just showing different views. Again, it's based upon your game plan, and that's where I want to take it next week. That sort of thing. It needs to be all inclusive. It needs to be all of us working together on this, so all of us can hammer it out. Because I make a lot of mistakes, and I don't want to misguide you guys. But if 5 of us are covering it, there's no way we're gonna screw up. I really don't think that there's no way that we can screw up if there's 5 guys discussing some sort of topic, and things like that. So that's what we're going. That's what I want to see this grow into, because that is very powerful. That's much more powerful than probably most of the stuff that we've covered, is analyzing our own gameplay and going to that next step. And then when you guys are winning games left and right because you guys are busting ass routing, or screwing the other guys up to route past and things like that, you see how easy it is to win the game without actually firing a damn bullet. Without firing a bullet, you'll move your guys into good positions, really put the pressure on. You may not kill them, but put the pressure on without doing anything but simply moving. and then let him make a mistake. Let him route the wrong way. Let him route into danger. Let him route on the edge of the board, and you just move your 6+1 next to him, and you just kill 3 squads. Make him make those decisions. Make him make those losses, and then he'll say, "Jesus, John's kicking my ass, and he hasn't fired a shot yet," or Hardy, or whatever. He's effortless, and just John's just flowing through the game like a hot knife through butter. He's just passing through these guys, and that's where you can just dominate the game, because then he loses confidence. And with your confidence, knowing, this is a safe spot to route, even if you break. I don't want you guys to get pissed if you guys break. It sucks breaking, honestly, but it just does. But you have the confidence. I know you guys do. I've seen you guys play before, especially John, months ago. And John, I saw him route 3 hexes to L3 in this particular map, I was ecstatic. That was like the second or third damn episode. That's ecstatic. That's how you win games. That's how you win games. It was just fantastic to see that. It just makes my little heart flutter. But because it's good stuff, it's good stuff. He took what he learned and he applied it. And if you don't apply what you learn, there's no point in learning it. Well, that's all we have for this week. This is a preamble for next week when we go over all 5 games of the Ad Hoc Chef du Pont Game of the Month. We also do the ASL, but that'll be happening some a different time. Look for that. So this is just a simple example of what the American and what the German needs to do and different ways to doing it. So take the lessons that you learned here, apply them in your games, and definitely join us next week when we go over all these games in detail. Every single game has a different theme on how they set up, how they fall back, how they attack, and how they take the game by its balls and goes with it. So join us next week on Tactical Tuesday